What is health? What is health? What does the word mean? Are we healthy? Is our world healthy? Are our minds healthy? Are our bodies healthy? Are our relationships healthy? Is the course our world has recently been set upon a healthy one? Was the course it was on before a healthy one? Are the World Economic Forum, or the United Nations, or the European Union, or British royalty, or political hierarchies healthy organisations? Is our banking system a healthy system? Without holding a deep understanding of what the word health actually points to, how shall we ever understand the meaning of this word? Is health related to what we think about it? Is health to be found in another man's words, assurances, in the opinions of experts, in a belief or in the pinnacle point of a mandated vaccination? Is health to be provided in drugs, or are drugs the very denial of health? Is health the opposing state to illness? Does death truly necessitate any lack of consideration of the word health? The word health is not health. This is the first thing, perhaps, to understand. The word health, like all words, is a pointer to something outside of itself. Words are pointers to other things. They are only sounds and symbolic representations of that which they represent. So what does the word health point towards? It can be revealing to travel back in time, to enter the world of etymological exploration, to ascertain exactly what was originally meant by a specific word. The word health, when so investigated, originally meant wholeness, being whole, sound, or well. In the Old English language, health was a word interchangeable with sacred, and wholeness carries the root of the word whole, which is the etymological meaning of the word we know today as holy. Health originally pointed more towards a state of completion and a life found in the presence of the sacred than it did towards today's understanding of the same word, which merely has come to mean a life devoid of superficial illness. Health is perhaps a life of completion, of living having arrived, of being, of having no needs at all, of living in harmony and relationship as this universe lives in harmony and relationship. Is it not interesting how one can find other angles on how we may come to view life collectively through the modicum activity of simple questioning? So the health of humanity, when viewed as this, is related to the wholeness of humanity. What does that word mean? Whole is not partial. The partial in life is not the whole of life. Where do we find the whole of life? Where have we found the partial? Partiality is never complete. Partiality is a piece, a fragment of the complete, and we live partially, and so we have lost all meaning and relationship in our sorrow-filled lives, which may only come to meeting life as a whole. We live as broken, divided parts of the totality of humanity. To live partially within humanity, as we do, we live as divided pieces of humanity. We are Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and Buddhists, and many other things. We are Brits and Israelis and Mexicans and Russians and Germans, and many other things. We are rich and poor and elitist and aristocratic, and poverty-stricken and powerless, among many other divided things. And divisions always relate back to an incompletion. We are a divided people, and divided people approach life through a divisive primary conditioning of partiality, which is the corruption of the human race, which is knowledge. Knowledge is never complete. There is always more to know. The etymological meaning of the word corruption interestingly enough, is to break into pieces, to break into parts. Our psychological sickness has its roots here in how we divide and how we each pursue isolated, divisive, educated dictates and dogmas, the pursued continuity of our educated historical beliefs, ideologies and attachments we have been scholastically programmed into during the many years of our education, which later in our adult lives ensure that each of us lives an incomplete life, and so an unholy life, an unhealthy life. For the holiness and health of our species is intimately ever dependent on the wholeness and health of our entire race, humanity, that which we are, and on finding an ability to live in completion with each other in this shared moment of time, on this shared home we call Earth, which is mother to each of us. Our knowledge has educated into us the very mechanism which is dividing us, and in our divisions we destroy that which we are, whole, holy, divided, partial. On the understanding of the meaning of such words lies the slim potential we may still hold to yet bring our race back from the brink of this human catastrophe. On the lack of understanding of such words lies a future of enslavement of humanity to the concepts and insistences of one powerful divisive fragment of our race. We either work hard to find true order, or we will have an enforced order pushed onto our lives, which becomes a disorder. When we live dividedly, as we do, we compete and fight and kill and wound and bring suffering to our people, to humanity, for we each see the tragically limited, partial view we hold important only to us and to our tribe as the only thing offering any life security. This is fatal, for in truth, this inner educated conceptual movement arising from our past is the only thing bringing total life insecurity to our world. Our psychological divisions are held in our knowledge, and so these are what lead us to division and to war and to death, and yet we seek security living in these divisions. We are human beings, each one of us, irrespective of what we believe, irrespective of what nation we have been born into, irrespective of how much money we have squirreled away in our isolated personal bank account, tax haven or not. We are all existing this day, and so we all share the same time in the same world. We are one species. Where we divide is within our learned, educated, programmed human consciousness. We divide at the root of our inner conceptual thinking self, and this memory is the beginning of every action we take in life, and so we act from a root ground of inner partiality, which is to act in prejudice, favouring the content of our thinking, which is a movement which continues my past, which is divided and so unconcerned against all others. We are destroying our world and our lives upon it because we act from the past, which is limited knowledge arising in the inner psychological structure of what we call our mind. This is what brings the breaking up of our world into existence. This is the beginning of all corruption and the denial of holiness or wholeness to our lives. Keep in mind, knowledge is also what removed us from the Garden of Eden. We are the same. We are identical in the manner we function. Each of us operates on thought, and thought is memory in each of us. Memory is divisive and limited knowledge, and living in divisive and limited knowledge is something something each of us has been brainwashed to do. Brainwashed during 12 years of scholastic insistence that we live our lives continuously within memories during tentative childhood brain programming malleable years. We now live this way automatically, for the human brain has found security in the continuity of its learned and accepted, conceptually divisive approaches to life, regardless how insecure and unsafe these collectively actually have made our lives become. For what knowledge carries inwardly in memory, which is the foundation of all thinking, is forever partial, as knowledge is always incomplete, experiences are always limited, and so thought and every action arising from thinking is a movement within incompleteness, and so a movement within unholiness, a movement of our communal sickness, of which each of us shares a part. Our inner psychological educated state is what is keeping mankind from living an orderly life, and also holding our lives eternally to war. From living well, from living in understanding, and from living a life of deep meaning, passion, beauty, order, and completion. Can we find health in our lives? Can we find wholeness, the original meaning of that word? Can we become whole and so holy? Can we find beauty and meaning and an understanding of our lives and deaths? Or are we the forgotten race, born from an intelligent universe, yet ever doomed to live in incompletion, ever doomed to the darkness of a life lived isolated from the whole, of a life lived infinitely in eternal conflict? On our investigation shall come the answer to such questions. Nowhere else. What could be more important than this?